Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. I'm going to open up with this video. It's about 3 minutes and some change, and go break down the origin of Christmas. And Christmas is a very demonic pagan holiday. And I'm gonna get into this video. I got some other information. Get into Jeremiah chapter 10. Let's get straight into it.
A time of joy, lights, and family traditions. Christmas, a time of joy, lights, and family traditions. But what if I told you that the story behind this beloved holiday is far darker than you've been led to believe? Christmas, as we know it today, didn't begin.
And this whitewash images is a very, very vexatious spirit. That's one of the things that we're vexed about, because this is not the true imagery, right? This is witchcraft you're looking at with the images. But I just want to bring that to your attention, how they tell the truth and they tell lies within them telling the truth. Let's get more into it.
In a stable in Bethlehem, but in a kingdom of rebellion, led by a tyrant named Nimrod, a figure whose shadow looms over history, myths, and religions alike. Long before Christ, Nimrod, a powerful and ruthless ruler, defied God and established what would become humanity's first organized rebellion against divine authority. According to legend, after his untimely death, his mother Semiramis claimed that an evergreen tree miraculously grew overnight from a dead stump, symbolizing the rebirth of Nimrod as a god. And every year, on December 25th, the anniversary of his birth, gifts were placed beneath this tree in his honor. Sound familiar? This wasn't the spirit of joy and peace. It was the spirit of revelry, indulgence, and even blood sacrifices, practices that predate Christianity by centuries. According to historian Alexander Hyslop, the Yule log symbolizes the death of Nimrod, while the Christmas tree represents his resurrection as a sun god, a practice deeply rooted in ancient paganism. As Christianity spread, the Roman Empire faced a dilemma: how to convert pagans who were deeply attached to their festivals. The solution? Merge these pagan celebrations with Christian symbolism, creating what we now call Christmas. The Saturnalia, a Roman winter festival filled with feasting, gift-giving, and merrymaking, became the foundation of the holiday. December the 25th, originally marking the return of the sun, was rebranded as the birth of Christ. But make no mistake, this was no innocent merger. Even early Christians were skeptical. Writers like Tertullian condemned the adoption of pagan practices.
All right, so you get the point of it. The Christians were so-called black people, and they weren't called Christians, they was called Hebrew Israelites. So let me get into this information. It's a lot of witchcraft that's been done, in this time, and the people are completely oblivious to what's really going on. They follow these traditions without knowing the origin of them. That's called ignorance. And these people, you see the folly, Saturnalia. Let's get into this. It says, Saturnalia, Slovakia. Close this out. I think this thing gonna start bugging. Let me just go here. Slovakia. It says right here, how Romans celebrated Saturnalia. During Saturnalia, work and business came to a halt. Schools and courts and law closed, and the normal Slovakia. Normal social patterns were suspended. It says people decorated their homes with wreaths and other greenery, and shed their traditional togas in favor of colorful clothes known as synthis, something like that. Even enslaved people did not have to work during Saturnalia. It says, but were allowed to participate in festivities in some cases. They sat at the head of the table while their masters served them. It says instead of working, Romans spent Saturnalia gambling, singing, playing music, feasting, socializing, and giving each other gifts. So they go to show you that this is nothing but the revised Roman Empire all over. That's the kingdom that we're in. We're in a Roman Empire 2.0. And anybody that got any kind of sense That's why we don't take you fucking Christians seriously. All you gotta do is do a simple Google search to find this out. It says no, the Bible does not state the specific date or even the exact season of Yahweh Shai. They got J, the J name. That J name comes with that imagery. That's why we've been, I've been doing the best I can to shake you out of that J name. Is Yahweh Shai. I mean, you have to see a so-called black man in your mind. It says, though it offers clues like shepherds in the fields, suggests spring. Yeah, it was in spring. In references to King Herod's reign, placing the year around 6 to 4 BC. It says, while December 25th is celebrated, well, you get the point. You know what I'm saying? It's all paganism. I gave you the origin. Goes back into Nimrod, which would be the ancient Babylonian, the first Babylonian kingdom. And Nimrod was a so-called black man. He was not, a so-called white man, but he was a different stock uh, than Israelites. Make that clear distinction. Let's go here. And this ain't nothing extravagant. It's getting straight to the point. You shouldn't be celebrating this. This is idolatry. This is wickedness. And we just see the difference from us in the world. It's a clear separation, like oil and water. When you try to mix it, it's going to separate. And we see the difference from us in the world. And that's why we say we're not of the world. We in the world, but we're not of the world. You're going to see all these people and all they folly, dumb, stupid-minded, idiotic, folly. It says Jeremiah 10:1. And the same thing happened back then. It wasn't called Christmas, but it's the same custom. It's the same thing. Remember, these things just keep getting reinvented, but it's the same concept. Jeremiah 10:1. It says, hear ye the word which Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, speaking unto you, O house of Israel. So-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans, and the scattered Israelites among the heathens. This is the word the Lord got for you. It says, keep going. Jeremiah 10:2 does say Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. It says, learn not the way of the heathen. It says, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Check this out. It's going to break down this custom to you, which you know today as Christmas, but it's the same Babylonian custom that's been repackaged, as Saturnalia in the Roman Empire, and then in the revised Roman Empire is called Christmas. They literally did the same thing, giving gifts, all that shit, It says for the customs. Matter of fact, I want to go to this word customs. Give me 1 second. Right, so this word custom, and we so late in the game, if you doing this, man, if you celebrating this, you finish. You know what I'm saying? But because we so late in the game, the knowledge is already out here, it's available, it's accessible, it's abundant for you to know that this is idolatry. It says custom. It says a traditional and widely accepted way of behaving or doing something in a specific to a particular society. This is the so-called white man society. This is Rome all over again. It's that same image of the system in the book of Revelation. It's the image of that pagan Roman system that's called America today. It's the same thing. It says place or time. It says tradition. Let's go to this word tradition. Because you stupid Israelites do this every year. I'm just saying the people that's outside the truth do the same folly, don't nothing change. As the world is progressing with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the Israelites are getting dumber. It says tradition. It says a long established custom or belief that has been passed on from one generation to another. And tell me this is exactly what this is. Let's go back to the scripture. And you got this whole Epstein thing is getting real ugly. It's getting out of control, and all that information is coming out about the deviant devil of Esau Edom. It says Jeremiah 10:3. It says, for the customs or the traditions of the people are vain. What does vain mean? It's pointless, meaningless. It's folly. What's folly mean? Foolishness. It has no substance in it. For one cutted a tree out of the forest, they did the same practice back then. Right? the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe. So you got some of these people even go, to these what they call nurseries that grow Christmas trees, and they'll cut them down for their own self. But most people got the artificial tree, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same custom, the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Jeremiah 10:4, they deck it with silver and gold. It's your Christmas tree. It's in the Bible. It wasn't called Christmas back then, but it's the same custom. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. It says Jeremiah 10:5, and some of those Christmas, trees, the real ones, you can buckle them down like this so they won't, stand them up upright. Jeremiah 10:5, they are upright as a palm tree, but speak not, they must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil. Neither also is it in them to do good. So we was born, the Lord gave us a commandment, you know what I'm saying? Many other commandments that learn not the way of the heathen. Don't celebrate their traditions. Even though they make it, matter of fact, I want to go into this information right here. I'm gonna read it from my other phone. How they snare you, snare Jake and entrap them in sin. They make it so convenient. It's almost coercion. Let me go to this chat GBT real quick. All right, check this out. So I'm gonna read some of this. It says right here. It says number 3, why schools and jobs shutting down matters. It says there, Salaki, this is where America crosses from traditional into behavior enforcement. Listen up to this. It says schools close, employers close, government offices close, commerce revolves around one holiday. It says people are structurally nudged into celebrating. Even refusal has consequences. Child care issues, lost income, social exclusion, labeling as a Scrooge or anti-family. So that's another thing on you Jakes. That's outside the truth. They're bound to their family. It says right here 4. I'm reading it from my other phone, Slocky, you can't see it. It says, what do you call this kind of enticement forcing? It says this isn't just one word. There are several accurate terms, each highlighting a different angle. It says social conditioning, training people over time to accept behaviors as normal through repetition and reward. It says soft coercion. It says when compliance is technically optional, but non-compliance carries penalties. It says manufactured consent. Listen up to this. It says a term from political theory. People believe that they choose something that was actually pre-selected and reinforced by institutions. That's heavy. But yeah, you get the point. I mean, I didn't want to make this too long. This is something straight to the point, simple. Right here. Matter of fact, I want to go to something else, but like I said, I don't. You should understand this. If not, if you're new to it, you get it. You should understand. You can't celebrate this. This is satanic. This is idolatry, and this is one of the main reasons the Lord judged our nation so harshly because of idolatry. Right? If you celebrate this, you're a damn demon. You know what I'm saying? And you have been, you're totally brainwashed and indoctrinated under wickedness. And the sad thing about it is, most people they don't give a damn because they'll say it's for the kids. Matter of fact, that's what this said too as well. This chat GBT was going into you Israelites, you would say it's for the kids, but what it does actually is indoctrinate those kids, and they grow up to be adults and they repeat the same cycles. That's why shit don't change. Right? It's only for the elect to wake up out of this, madness. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rachat, Kodash. They're already starting with the folly out there. You hear them? All right, Shalom.